quick. There's a couple of things I want to mention for folks, just particularly if they're watching. There's been a little confusion over two topics, and the first one is birds down in the big park. There's been some concerns. I think here at one of the coffee, a citizen had mentioned about just population control for geese and ducks. And that was kind of communicated that would be an emotionally challenging, effort. But I'll say this is I do not believe pigeons are in the same category as ducks. And we've got over a 400 population, pigeon family down there growing. And just so you know, and it was even mentioned, somebody came up to me here at this coffee, is pigeons carry lice. They carry all sorts of disease. They are the rats in the sky. And not only that, when they roost, and I don't mean to be so blunt, but their excrement is acidic, and it just absolutely destroys anything metal, anything that is done there. They roost and they destroy. And there was even some discussion around using spikes as a way to mitigate them coming there. But I reminded the people in social media that this is not only that, it's we got young kids, little kids. We have tropical storms, we have thunderstorms, we have hurricanes with high wind. There is no way we'd be able to ensure that those spikes wouldn't find their way on the ground. And to a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old, they would think it could be a toy and could really hurt themselves. It's just a playground is not a place for thin, sharp spikes. It's just not good. So we're looking at that, and we would literally have to, and I humorously said, if on the top of the roof or anything, we'd have to make everything look like a porcupine in order to really get rid of them. And I really don't want to do that. But Paul knows we're really looking at doing this. We're trying to do as a humane way, but we're right now, we were successful in getting the insurance claim to be able to redo the basketball court floor, because if anybody's down there, you saw somebody in a car came and put about I'm just going to guess 30-40 foot rubber slick from just spinning the wheel on that to do damage. And we're gonna fix that. And while we're also fixing that, we're gonna do the backboard. You know me, I like if you're gonna do it, let's fix it. So we're gonna do all the backboards. We're gonna make sure all the hanging's done. We're gonna make sure the configuration's right, so we don't have just one full court. It's only gonna be one on the side, so kids will always have a place to play. And we're going to spend some money there, so I really want to make sure we protect it. So that's the thing with pigeons.
About the pigeons, sir, I don't know, it may sound silly, but in some of the larger cities, hang silhouettes of cats from buildings, and it keeps them away.
Yeah, we're looking at a variety of things. And again, I was being humorous, and people, I get the emotion around some things with the birds, but catch and release is what I call bird paradise. Pigeon heaven I mentioned was if you catch and euthanize, and we're not saying that. Again, we're not saying that. We're looking at, there were some things around sonic things that do not, but we're checking to make sure that's there. And even you had some things about some hormone or type stuff. We're looking at it, but we can't keep doing what we're doing. It's the duck feeders are doing great for the ducks, but the pigeons are having a field day. So,
that's like the bane of sailors for years, to keep the seagulls
absolutely
from doing their thing on their boats. And they tried those. I know a lot of people who tried those spikes, and they weren't even that.
They aren't that effective.
But at Bal Harbor, one we did, because at the end of one of our piers, now I can only speak to seagulls though, that we got this, I don't know, I guess you can call it a machine, but you could choose what
Correct.
predator
We're looking
you
into
set
that.
for. Yeah,
Yeah, to
understand.
sonically, do things. And,
yeah.
my fear, I used to operate a manufacturing facility that was right next to believe it or not, a grass seed facility. So the pigeons used to go chow and roost all in my equipment. and it was really difficult to trap them because you put food in there and they weren't hungry. They had lunch, dinner all over here. And my bet is that's what these are. These are roosting right next to where they get food. And it's, so we're going to have to be a little bit more creative. So, but the focus is on the pigeons, and they are not protected under bird sanctuary. We are a bird sanctuary. They are considered an invasive pest, and the elimination or serious reduction of them is not violating anything in regards to a bird sanctuary. So, and I'm going to try to get rid of these if I can, because they're a mess and they're going to destroy a beautiful pavilion, and I don't want that to happen. The other bit of confusion is the cutting down of the trees, Jeff. The cutting down of the trees in Founders Park. Those are not live trees. People who have inquired were thinking we were thinning out, and we're talking about trees like this, that 2-3 foot diameter trees that we're cutting down live trees. We're not cutting down any live trees. These are dead ones. And as Paul knows, is one in particular, I think there was even another, was seriously leaning towards the neighboring house to that property, and we just can't have that. But there's the only thing live that's been trimmed is to open up the umbrella of the trees, so they went up about 10 feet. And what that's done is provided for about 20 homes to have truly a water view, and it's going to help the trees out in just getting dead ones down below. But the only reason why we've touched a live tree is to trim it, and the only trees that have been cut down are dead. And your guys have done a great job, and they started where even the ground was probably even a little bit too saturated with water. They have just done a really good job. If you haven't been down there, you should check. Founders Park has been cleared out, and it is just really looks nice. And I know I've had neighbors call about, why are we cutting down live trees, and neighbors calling about, gosh, I haven't had that view in 20 years. So that's what we're doing. The other is, and I see some from the neighborhood watch here, is 18410. We did they are behind. They are now form pass that we gave them, and we're looking at legal options. We this week had our building official as well as code official, fire, everybody. I mean, we had a whole group over there where we sat down and met with them. Our legal counsel has been in touch with the legal counsel for Dr. Jameson. I think this helped nudge, or I'm hopefully thinking that this helped nudge that truckload of wallboard. They were supposed to have had this wallboard all up in that easily a month ago. So all I'm glad is I do believe that this will get done correctly, and that will hopefully that home will be renovated to how they have contracted with the city with there. But they're behind, and I'm glad to see that they dropped off that first load. And then the last is, we've been talking about the moon trees. The March 9th date is going to get changed. There's a couple things. As people know, I've been out, so I've in regards to the coordination of that. But also it's the first weekend of spring break, and a lot of this was going to be geared towards children. So we want to make sure that we have a situation where a lot of families are gone because of spring break. I have some other ones, but let me turn, those are the ones I
Okay.
wanted to emphasize first.
Okay. Going back to what the mayor said about the Founders Park, the parks crews have been down there for 2 weeks. 8 dead trees removed. The canopies have been lifted. They also put plywood in the grass so they could go over and not destroy the grass with the bobcats and the backhoe. So it's opened it up. It looks really good. We've come to a stopping point. The guys will be on meter books reading that, but we'll jump back on it and start the stump grinding, so we won't have the stump sticking up. And then after that, we are going to expand the antique lighting that was just kind of around the center. It's going to actually go out. Yeah, it's go out probably a good 60, 80 feet and come back around. It's going to look really, really nice. Yeah.
The way I saw it was, you know, the walkway that goes around there and it kind of goes in a circle right through there. You're almost going to follow the exact perimeter. You're actually going to be a little bit further out, but it's almost like we're creating that central area as a lit perimeter, which would be really nice.
Yeah. And then another thing the mayor discussed was the basketball court. We're going to get it resurfaced, repainted, but we're also going to make it a half court basically. So the half of the court will be for adults playing or taller people using it, and then the second half of the court will be just for the children. So
let me maybe put some detail. Right now, if you look at the pavilion, the full court utilizes the whole pavilion. So the high one uses the whole pavilion. We're saying for people coming in that are adults, rather than taking the whole pavilion, Paul and I talked, and we're doing it as we're taking half, and the tall ones are going to be only on one half, and that they can play a full court, but it won't be a true full court. But at least I have 2 baskets going there, and we're lowering the other ones so the kids, if somebody comes in and uses that as a tournament, they don't take over the whole thing for kids, and that's everyone knows that's happened in the past, even if it's not a tournament. So this way, there's only going to be one side that can be taken, and it should open up for younger kids to still be out there. I think it's a great idea.
Do people ever reserve that?
no, not for basketball games.
they
Yeah,
just end
just
up-
for parties or something.
And
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a personal input here, as I've had a number of people mention that you know, some of our younger kids gets pushed out by people who are adults from up there. And
You know, that has not been our experience at all. When we go down there with boys, they could not be nicer.
well,
We're down there on Sunday.
again, I get the call.
I mean, they are just.
There's 2 things.
Boys want to play, they can play. I mean, they're just so nice.
Yeah. So I think it depends on whether there's a tournament going on or something that they're doing. But I'm glad to hear that. I'm not saying I'm just getting what comes to me. There's 2 things: is that people have been pushed off, and the other is they stay there past 11 o'clock. You know, our park closes at 11, and that there are people I've called who said they're noisy, they're down there, they're playing music and stuff like that.
Can we put the gate back up?
That's what was the thought.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this recommendation was recommended and voted on by the Parks Committee. So
Correct.
So that's how
the thing. So you
Yeah.
not right away, because his guys are doing some stuff here,
Yeah.
but that is definitely before the summer comes. We're going to have that gate up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A couple other good things that's going on. The Clear Creek cleanup that was canceled last Saturday, the last minute due to weather. They did have 75 diehard volunteers that battled that, and they had the barges loaded up with trash, 8 tons, and then over the course of the entire cleanup was 200 volunteers. So just a great. I love volunteers. I love volunteers. Yeah. So that was a really good turnout. We are still looking at the voting, the election voting. We're going to be proposing 3 different options for council on Monday. You know, basically either, you know, go paper ballot or digital or something. But we've been working on that a lot this week. A lot of man hours put into that. We are,
Can I say something
yeah,
on that?
sure.
I'm, just for those who don't know, Harris County for the May municipal elections has pulled their support to run those elections. And up until this year, they were required to, but because they eliminated the county administrator position, all of those guarantees were based off it being run by the county administrator. So now it's going out of the county clerk, and they're saying we no longer have that responsibility. And we think since they consolidated it, that they should still have that obligation. Problem is, there's no way we can fight that and still have the staff be able to be prepared to have an election. So more than likely, from the sense I've gotten, is let's do the minimum with that we can this year, fight whatever it is this year, and then deal with the outcome of one way or the other. I personally believe there's some shicky-micky going on here, and I've mentioned that before. I don't know why they're pulling their support for the May elections, but they are.
Did they also pull it from Freeman Library?
My understanding is yes. They're saying they cannot support. I talked to the deputy chief of I guess that's Hilago or things, and he just said we don't have the resource and machines, and we are not doing any of them 100%. And I worry that they're trying to say, hey, if you want Harris County support, the only way you can do that is to run your elections in November. And I'm really against that. I'm really against that.
You're against what part?
Having our city elections for, all the things done the same time it coincides with the presidential election. I think local issues get dwarfed by national ones, and I believe that's the intent of the state, allowing there to be two, is to make sure local issues were done locally, national ones are done nationally. Personal opinion, and I really am against doing that and kind of using that as a financial way to force that. And now I may be totally wrong. I'll give that caveat, but I sure don't understand how things can be pulled so quickly and so totally. And I'm gonna find out.
Hey, Phil, just to be clear on that, so does this impact our voting here for city council?
Which means we have to run the election.
Yeah.
It's all on us.
But that doesn't change that we have
No,
that voting.
we're just not gonna fight it and leave it ambiguous as to what we're gonna do. We've got to commit Monday to how we're gonna run the election. And I want to do minimum dollars, because these machines aren't cheap. 2 or 3 of them cost $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah,
right?
we're in between the $35,000 and $60,000 range.
Yeah, so and if we do that, that means we have the capability to run them for 5 years, and I don't want to do that now. I want to, me personally, we haven't had a chance to talk about it up on council, but me personally, I think we should do the minimum, find out what the heck's going on, challenge what can be challenged, and then we'll deal with it next year, one way or the other.
Sure, they change those machines all the time.
They see when they.
Can you rent them?
No, we use a
yeah.
purchase only.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the
That's
the
the
option
kicker.
would be a paper ballot, going back to paper ballot.
punch holes,
Starting
hanging
with the-
hanging
yeah.
chads.
So Phil, did you find out, is this a budget save that they're making this decision, or?
Well, that's what they're
who
saying.
made the decision?
I quite honestly, right now, they're just taking the position, and the things are, we're right at the, right smack in the middle of doing everything. Like, we've got to, if we're going to have resolutions for the charter revision, we've got to have that by next Friday in detail. That we're right in this mix going on. So for us to try to leave it open without them being able to plan, there's just not enough time. And I think they did that on purpose.
How about our representatives like Dennis Paul, et cetera, can they help us at all?
Not part of their, it's their jurisdiction, but not their responsibility.
And we have a new mayor, we have a new Houston mayor.
Again, we don't have time to fight it right now. I'm going to do all those things after this election, because I believe this is wrong. So.
Hey, just jumping back for David Ron Park, the gate, when was the gate actually taken out and why? So I'm trying to just understand. I always thought that 11 o'clock, the park closes, people go out, police make sure they go out, the gate closes.
Yep.
Not in my time. It was
Yeah.
way before my time.
All I
Yeah.
know, I think, when did you get here?
14 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, so I mean, what date was that? That's
2010. Yeah.
Somewhere between 2004 and 2010, because I was mayor in 2004, and it was up. So sometime between two, because if it wasn't there with you,
Yeah.
I know it was there in 2004.
So Parks and Rec voted, put it back in, so Paul's gonna put it back in, but
Correct.
it's not a priority right now because he's. got-
Not a major, it's one that's gonna do, because I look at it as one, we also did the 11 o'clock because people will walk, we've had vandalism and stuff there, so at 11 o'clock, it gives the option for the police to be able to stop people and say, hey, this is, you're past here, whereas before they wouldn't have been able to do that. That was the original concept, was to help give another arrow in the quiver for our police to be able to challenge that people are down there, because 11 o'clock, there really shouldn't be many people down at the parks. And the gates were there to keep vehicles from going back down there. And if there are people down there on the basketball court or doing whatever, and there's things that the police, before locking up, will make sure everybody's gone and lock it. And then it's only pedestrians. That's the concept.
You know normally what time it would open in the morning? Okay.
I want to say 5. Yes, 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. I was thinking 6, but
Yeah.
it was
I
early.
think they opened the gate and the Peninsula Gate around that same time.
My wife's car got vandalized down there, and she was walking early one morning. I don't know what time it was, I think it was probably around 6-ish. Got vandalized in the morning? In the park. Yeah, in the morning, they were still dark,
Yeah.
there were some people in the dog park that she wasn't too sure about, and, it was still dark.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 a.m. to 11 p.m.
We've been conducting city secretary interviews this week, park supervisor interviews. We're trying to really, work on that a lot. We are excited. We received the money for our one project Wednesday.
$3.8 million.
Yep. And then 2.3 is designated for water lines only, 4 miles of water lines. And so we will eliminate all the 2-inch water lines. If you live in a cul-de-sac, most likely you have a 2-inch or 4-inch line. That's going to go with a 6-inch upgrade with a fire hydrant at the end, new valves. It's going to increase water pressure, capacity, firefighting capability. So we're really excited. That's we're probably thinking toward the end of this fiscal year. By the time we do all the engineering, construction, bids, November, we should start seeing crews mobilize. And we're really excited about that. So
This is one of the last tranches for the water distribution, right?
Yeah.
So it's hopefully going to put a real stake in the brakes, because everything we repaired didn't break this past year, and this is going after the top areas. So that'll help us with water loss. That'll help us with guys not having to dig to fix stuff. It'll get us back into. Let me say it this way: while other cities are still going to be challenged with infrastructure, with the amount of work that we've done the past 2 years, is we're going to have, pretty much a brand new infrastructure underneath the city, which means we won't have these expenses for another 30, 40 years.
we're also tackling some of the issues on the drainage system. We are going to be replacing 200 feet of 36-inch drain line down Davon back to the Point Lookout area. We're looking at a couple other areas that are holding water just a little bit, and then also about 100 feet in front of we've been working with the Moody Neurological people, and we're going to put 100 feet of drain line in there with a new catch basin. So we're really tackling the storm line problems that we have around the city.
You're not giving your guys credit. They actually scoped the lines and found a crushed pipe, which was impeding that, which seen more flooding in the Davon area. So the guys are doing their scoping. They're doing the preemptive work to find out where things are, and that's what's led to this. And Jaime on the certificate of obligations of $3.8 million, great job. We got 2.66 interest rate on that $3.8 million because of the financial rating that we have, because of some of the structural things we've done. This city is in better financial shape than it's ever been. We got cash, we got discretionary spending, and the bond markets or the certificate markets recognize that that's a below market price for the interest. And Jaime did a great job, just fabulous. Saved us big bucks.
And this storm line that we're putting priorities on is the old galvanized lines that were put back in the 60s and 70s. This is nothing the polyurethane pipe or the concrete pipe. So we're really scoping and televising all these areas. I think we've looked at, right about over 200 inlets with pictures and everything. So the storm guys have really been getting after it. The 10U module date palms coming in from the east and from the west. That was installed beginning late last week into this year. We're also,
They look good.
yeah, thank you.
Well, particularly down on your end, I think it looks great.
The Bal Harbor.
Let me say, a lot of people don't realize we did a demonstration project in front of City Hall when the sundial and all that there back in 2000. And we had just, small trees. And one of the big things came is that those medians are so big, the trees were too small. So we dug them up and figured we'd start down there where they'd go up. Now you've got the 20 footers and you can really see it. And
the trees do look really good. I mean, they're big. I knew they were going to be big because you said they were going to be big, but they're no Charlie Brown Christmas trees.
They are not.
How long, Paul, will these wood supports stay on each of the trees?
3 months.
3 months, but they're more pushing to 6, just to double the make sure it's stable.
I got to give credit to Paul. Is everything the arborists and the homes say is that we really need to have 6 months of these trees come a hurricane season. So we were racing to make sure that we can get these in so they can be in their spots in the infrastructure for a minimum of 6 months before hurricane season, which starts June 1st. So we missed it by about a month, but we don't think we're going to have that, which is why you may see the wooden supports there just to get us past that first 6 months.
And then if you see the green bags on the trees, it's only because we have electrical problems going on the west side of town with just the irrigation system. So these bags, my water to slow trickle system, and so any irrigation area that is not working, these trees have them. And so we're looking. We've been working with CenterPoint. We're finally getting the prices to redo some electrical, and in the future, if we want to run, or pretty close now, if we want to run new electrical for the lights, we've got a price on that just came in yesterday for the electrical work, the lighting, the up lighting, and everything.
I'm committed to have those lights lit just like everyone else. And I'm working I've already reached out to the Nass Area Management District because they own the other light, keep them one owner. So there's not Methodist, us, I want one owner of these things. And the city will help support that in order to be able to light those trees. So you'll see the identical lights on either end for the entrances as you see this. A lot of people saw we had it for Mardi Gras, or we still have it for Mardi Gras, right? And there you have the yellow, purple,
Valentine's
and
Valentine's
green.
Day's coming up.
So it's you, and they're going to be the same, and they did a good job because the other ones were 15 years old and they never had the size of the things. Technology for that wasn't that good. It's real good now. They really light up those trees, and that'll be on either end, whether it's Nassau Bay Drive or Bal Harbor Drive. You're going to see that those are going to get lit up.
And we have some curb work. We finished up the curbs at Nassau and Bal Harbor. So we're doing a overall map, and our priorities are coming into the city right up to Space Park, start replacing all these curbs that are cracked. So we got a lot of things going on.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When there's an accident on Nassau Road 1 and it knocks out a tree or a light, does the people's insurance company end up?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yep.
They get
Okay.
we don't always get reimbursed, but they get contacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just so you know, and this is something I'm really proud about is, when we had the freeze and it knocked out all the trees, when we put them in, and it's even, we're making sure that we have a full guarantee that even if there's no fault and the things are there, they'll replace those trees. Because when we had 147, we had 3 or 4 a year that would get hit that we'd have to replace. So we wanted a full guarantee, and we pay a small premium for that, but it allows us to perpetually guarantee those trees. So we ever have a freeze and kill all of them will get replaced on the nursery dollar. If somebody doesn't pay us in their insurance in order to do that, they'll do that. They even said they'll back a car hitting it. So it's a true. If we look and say that looks bad and it looks sickly, they'll come in and replace it.
Quite an operation.
So,
Yeah, and I got to give a really big shout out to PD because they are really good at once there's an accident. We've had in the last probably 3 months, somebody go through Saturn and hit our benches right in front of the Marriott. They immediately text me. It's even if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, and we have all the pictures. We have the driver's license, insurance, and then immediately we send it over to Jaime. He gets with the insurance, and so there's a really good process that we do. And I would say probably 99% we recoup all our money. And
I didn't think it was that high, but that's great.
yeah, we immediately we get with the contractor. If somebody destroys our benches or trees, that it shouldn't be on city staff, so I contract that, and then those gets into the insurance company. So
just some feedback I would love to have from citizens. I thought we would put in these 20 and stop. My feeling is from Nassau Bay Drive to Upper Bay, I think looks great. I don't think there's any more work there. It's on your end, where even on that second median as you come out of Bal Harbor Drive and the median to the left, not the single one, they space those like every other. My belief is we got to fill that in and then probably come from Upper Bay further, maybe another 20 trees. I don't know. They're expensive, guys. I mean, we're doing it, but I think they look great, and we could probably afford it next year. And it'd be so just to put in to do those 20 trees is about $150,000 with all in with everything. So they're not cheap, but boy, I think they really elevate the look of our neighborhood.
yeah, and if you can remember the old trees, we went back and looked at a lot of pictures. The canopies were only lit up maybe about a quarter of the canopy on the bottom. We lifted up the support another 6 inches. That's why we get the full canopy,
Really
and they don't get hit by any mowers or nothing like that. So we put a lot of work into it. Yeah.
That big shuttle down,
Yeah.
and they had to lean those
Yeah.
pumps.
It's
Yeah.
You're right.
One other good thing that's going on is Chief Cromie has got with Scott Clement, street supervisor, and they evaluated the city, all potential speeding areas, and so we'll be dropping in probably about 20 to maybe 30 speed limit signs throughout the city. We're also looking at maybe increasing the size from the 18-inch maybe to a 24-inch, make them a little bit bigger, the reflective around it. Then Chief Cromie also is looking into the solar speed limit signs that will just come on, they'll up, down, upper, back, all the areas that we're getting reports of high traffic area. And then one of the big things that also Chief Cromie did was put the flock system numbers on the website. So you can actually go to the website, look at the flock system. It'll tell you how much cars are being tracked, everything down Upper Bay. It was, I want to
Eye-opening.
say it was like 90,000 cars down Upper Bay for.
Going to the post office.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable.
You'd
Yeah.
be shocked at how many people come into that post office. That's one reason why I will always fight. And for every council that comes after me, fight to keep that post office in there because that is probably the single largest draw of citizens into our cities for our businesses.
At one time, I heard that one of the reasons we were able to keep it is because it was involved in NASA.
It is,
And
correct.
that helped us keep it.
Correct. You're absolutely right, Becky. Even though they still are, the post office, the USPS is always under budgetary constraints. So you have to fight for it. And if it ever comes up, we need a full court press.
Is our box still taped off that we can't drop mail? in that?
No, no, we can,
It's open now?
It
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did that over the holidays because they, and again, and police know this, is that was a target for theft.
The water fountain out front of the city-owned water amenity, we did replace. It's a massive, if underground, it's
Up and down
something,
there,
it's crazy. So we had to replace all the piping down there. And then we found out now that the electrical system's getting water into it. So the street and drainage guys, they're redoing some of the piping, the electrical, the supply, doing a lot of sealing on the pipe. So we're hoping to have that back up in about another week and a half. But it's just been a big problem for us. And then the last thing I have is next Wednesday is Valentine's Day for us romantics. So Troy's running a special down at the animal shelter for pet adoptions and buy one, get one free. So
Yep.
if you need a dog or cat for your loved one, go down and see Troy. He'll be happy to put a bow around it and get some
Red bow.
Red bow, yes.
What they do, the lights on the palm trees turn red for Valentine's?
Yes,
Day?
yes.
What day?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What day is that?
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah, it's Wednesday. It should be Wednesday or probably maybe Tuesday night. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, correct. Yep.
But one thing good about that system, Pete, is that I'll have it on my phone. And so if something goes wrong or say the Astros win, I can just get on my phone and change the color to orange.
Did
I
you
could.
say if?
Yeah.
When?
When. And so we're able to. What's that?
Can I have that on my?
No, ma'am.
You could, but we're not letting you, Tricia.
It's actually they have, I think, like 14 predetermined
Yeah, but
lighting.
she's saying Mardi Gras is Tuesday, the 13th,
Yeah.
right? Because that's truly Mardi Gras, and Ash Wednesday. you're
No,
going
no.
there.
I'll
Yeah,
change
I
it when
agree
you're
with you.
sleeping.
So midnight the 13th or 12:01 on the 14th. He'll change it to red.
So I just, see the officer back there reminded me that, David Ron Park's official address is what,
18900.
right? People, I'll call dispatch and I'll say something wrong with David Ron Park. Where's David Ron Park? I said, it's the end of the road. And then he reminded me kindly that it's 18,900.
900, yeah.
18900.
That's the official address of the whole park.
The park, the wastewater plant. It's kind of strange how they have it's like 900, 18900 A, B, C, and we kind of have to go off of kind of center point.
Head to the pond. You
Yeah.
can't miss it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good to know that because a lot of people. do
Yeah,
not know
good point.
Yeah. That's all I have.
I have one last one is we have finalized all the work that we're going to do and what we're going to do for the Chris Reed family. This past, I guess it was Tuesday.
Mhm.
Paul, myself, Paula Tomasi, and Alexa Reed have finalized it. They're tickled pink. The family very, very excited. Just to give you a feel, is when you look at the courtyard there at the courtyard Marriott, but if you're looking at there's that courtyard where we talked about the fountain. To the left is the fallen officers where we have Kayla And then we have on the other side, the exact same one that's a mirror image of the place. It's going there, which I think people heard, but the family has requested that we do an interior tiling of that flower bed so that it is the Notre Dame colors. And then on the, as like on a watch, you have 12, 6, 3, and 9. At the 12 and 6 will be a single tile each where you'll have the Fighting Irish Leprechaun, right? And then on the 3 and 9, it'll be the 82nd Airborne, because he was 82nd Airborne. And the Garden Club, I really appreciate the help. The Garden Club gave, because the family wanted to have yellow and blue like for Nassau Bay. And one of their nieces, don't get me exactly, but Alexa was saying really loves the color purple.
That was Chase.
Chase. It was
yeah.
Chase. It was Chase. And so we're going to see yellow and blue in front of the things, and on the back of that one is going to be purple. We're going to put in 2 extra lights. Paul's it up, and we're gonna put everything's going to be a brand new pole. Has to.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up 3 feet, so it'll be 3 feet higher. So it'll almost be the same height as the Kayla Memorial. I think it's going to look great. And we've agreed, Paul's checking on it, that the family would love to have a christening of it with a street eats. And we're looking at having a street eats again for the city before April 18th. So that's the plan.
And the original plan was to have a contractor do all that work. But speaking with the guys, especially Scott and Street, he, Chris did so much for Public Works, and he was really a Public Works guy that the Scott and his crew are going to probably do the mountain of Chris's plaque, and then do all the lighting work. And so we'll just outsource the tile work and something like that. But
Good job putting that all together.
I'll tell you, both families absolutely tickled pink. The Reed family think this is a much more appropriate place. They, whether putting it up or moving it, they really hadn't been involved. They've been intimately involved, and Chris was very much a big fan of the redevelopment for the town center, and he was very much involved with Street Eats. So having it up there in the center of town is a much more honorable place, and they couldn't be happier, all of them. So that makes me feel like we've done the right thing. So
one of the things about fountains, I think a while back there was a conversation about NASA, about Methodist having a turnaround on
correct, roundabout
with the fountain in the middle. Is that thing going forward?
Right now, that depended on having some purchase of land that was there, and that has not happened. And I've heard very little from the Methodist folks, so I think they're put on pause any future development there. But I other than that, so it's on hold.
Yeah, but it would be pretty. Nice attraction.
So what Jim's talking about is coming in off of Upper, Nassau 1 on Upper Bay Road, right there at that first intersection, that they wanted to put a road going towards the east to help facilitate future development that they were going to do, make it a roundabout so there wouldn't be a stop sign, and you would be able to take a right on a roundabout going on Space Park, as well as going straight on Upper Bay, and then being able to do a feature right there in the middle. So that's my understanding, is their future development is on hold.
Sure.
I don't believe that Methodist building is as full as they originally thought. It is not. It is significant. We know because if it's run by Methodists, they're nonprofits, so anything that is their occupation and haven't leased out is not taxable for us. If it's a business that's in there and they're not a nonprofit, we get those tax credits, and it is seriously off its projection.
And Chief actually updated me on the flock system. In the last 30 days, 84,448 vehicles have been detected.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot. So
Which is why this is so important.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, now within those 84,000, rather than not knowing who they are, if anybody has any type of things where they could be dangerous, it forewarns the police officer.
So it gives a probable cause then, right?
Correct. It would, or I don't know if it's probable
No.
cause, but at least it would give them caution in approaching and looking at apprehension is how I look at it.
And I still bring up about the front and back license plates.
Yeah.
Why aren't we issuing tickets to people? Not
So
tickets.
I'm going to give credit to Paul. He and I have had some pretty frank discussions, and I think we've got to up our game in what we enforce from our ordinances.
It's a Texas law.
And I think you're seeing the first focus being on speeding.
Mhm.
So I'm really pleased to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see there's going to be a focus on front and back license plates. I also think there's before the recreational season on boating, it's going to be on the enforcement in the Party Cove. I really want to eliminate that whole mention. I think that is the bay of Nassau Bay. So I think there's going to be that. And I want it to be for residents rather than for other people. And right now, 98% of the people that come in there are outsiders. They're enjoying that. I see now more so than ever, I have people coming up at in Sea Cove on their golf carts with their kids, checking to see if it's safe for them to be able to go out there. A lot of times when it's in summer and it's not, they just don't do it. And I think that makes me very sad. It used to be.
What is the access supposed to be to that strip of land at the end of the court? I mean, it's open to the public.
So no, you mean at the cul-de-sacs?
At the cul.
No, actually, those are private property.
Right.
Everything that I know is those are private property, and we have an easement. But not nobody should be parking in the cul-de-sac and hopping on a boat because it's not a registered location for embarkation. So
People doing that?
they not on Sea Cove. I go out there and tell them there's a much better one. Go up on Upper Bay Road. So
But a lot of people do go down there.
They do.
Look at the water
they do.
and the sunset, sunrise.
I just tell them we've got an actual boat ramp, for folks, because usually the people who do that aren't really the boaters, it's the kayakers, it's the canoers. They want to put in and just be right there, and that's really unsafe. That's really unsafe. It's not built for that.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing I had is we had somebody knock on our door who was a Grubhub or whatever the things they're wanting to deliver to us, and it wasn't our name or anything like that. And sure enough, people just knew 2015 Sea Cove was right next to the water, so they came up in the boat. They Grubhub handed it to them. Yeah, we kind of got a little upset with that. True story. People getting food on these cul-de-sacs.
Hey, Bill, question. So when we have a success, a major success with flock, like let's say flock leads to capturing a felon, a real bad guy, will we ever hear about that? Like, I don't care about details, but I would like to know that flock led to taking a felon,
See
a
what we
real
can
bad
do
guy.
to get some visibility to the. So in other words, give visibility to success stories.
Give
Okay.
visibility to the fact we have a flock system.
My hope is that we do put up the signs. We talked about this, that a flock system is in place, because people who are criminals notice that, and they will go other places.
How do you
Just-
spell that?
FLOCK.
Yeah.
It's all named after birds, so all their systems are bird type names.
Flock of birds.
A flock of seagulls.
Flock pigeons. Other than that, I'm just looking here, maybe let me just look through.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure, that's what this is for. We're not
Maybe I
just,
should come more frequently.
just so people know, this is not the rules of an open session.
Yeah,
Right, so this is a give and take, this is not a one-way.
well, this, I just want to put this idea in your head. We've been having trouble with speeding. You know how the traffic's been backing up on NASA Parkway?
Yeah,
going west
yeah, the cut through.
especially? They cut through ours.
Yep.
They don't stop at the stop sign at the corner.
Absolutely.
They're barreling down there, cutting through. I don't know where they come out.
You mean coming through Lagoon to Baycross?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go all the way to Nassau Bay Drive.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So they must
miss
be
that
like-
whole thing and then take the light and go on to the bypass. Absolutely.
She's right out behind where those drivers do. They move through.
Yeah, because they want to catch the light, because every, you know, at Nassau Bay Drive.
They speed through the neighborhood.
They, no question.
And they can't
That's a good one. That one hasn't been mentioned in a while, Trish, so
What are
that's,
we doing?
thank you for that.
But-
Can they be more
We
visible?
just need to make, you know,
Well, I mean, actually, I mean, I usually, when that backs up, I'll run out in the city and stuff, and I do see the officers, they have their areas, their points, and right when they're coming, and they're normally staged where they can see all 4 stop signs. So, yeah, they're actively, a couple times I had to slow down because I figured they're gonna get me. But mostly, like the mayor said, if lights start going out on Nass Road 1, that space park is busy.
yeah,
But,
but they come in the residential area, at Bell Harbor
Yeah.
Drive.
Hey, Paul,
And
did you say you're in favor, you're a fan of, you know, some neighborhoods that have, you know, heavy use of a stop sign that now have the flashing red lights that really accentuate the stop sign? I
Yeah.
think I see that down in Seabrook. Is that something we would ever have interest? You could have.
No, you missed his thing. We're looking.
Yeah. That was,
heard
Chief,
it, but I
yeah,
wasn't
Chief is
sure.
looking on the speed limit side.
Yeah.
So when you come around the corner, I don't know if it's like something like a little motion or maybe just going and it's just flashing, kind of like making you stop. But the stop signs, we hadn't discussed that, but Chief, I know his priority is to get a good grip on the speeding.
Yeah.
So but we'll look into that
So
too.
just-
So that's
so-
an
Yeah.
avenue where we could be going down.
But what I did actually was probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, instead of just the normal stop sign with the dull red,
Yeah.
all of our stop signs now are reflective, engineering reflective. So if you see them, and on the commercial area, it's 36 inches, and on the residential, it's 24. But they're all reflective. So the lights hit it, and you've got that prism look. So we did that about 2 years ago, and so that
And
helps a
again,
lot.
these are
So,
some of the discussions, and I know it's gonna take resources, and it's gonna take some, you know, just a little bit of a mentality shift, but we've heard the citizens say just how much speeding is observed. And the analogy I use is like, you know, when you really crack down, everybody knows about it, right? I mean, anybody who speeds from Nassau Road 1 on going on to Kirby up to Red Bluff, you go 51 and you're going to get nailed. I mean, everybody, and I'd like to have our city get known for, you know, you speed in our city, you're going to get ticketed.
Back to signage, So one of the things down at David Brown Park, there's a kayak ramp, lack of a better word.
Yeah, it's a
And people.
bunch of rock that have been put together with a
There's a
staircase.
sign on there that says, no fishing,
Mhm.
but there's no ordinance on that thing. So I talked to the police officers about that before, and they can't enforce any code because there's no signage, no code.
You know, I think we really need, because we don't have speeding signs and we have ordinances for speeding and people get ticketed for speeding. If our ordinance is an ordinance passed by council, you don't need a sign in order to be able to say you enforce it.
I'm just telling you what.
I get that. But
I have to
mean,
look into that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll look into that.
because I'm the same way all along the boardwalk on Upper Bay and other places where people come, and the issue is people come from outside the city, they just trash it, they leave their trash there, and you know, people have to look at trash. And I love people fishing, I really do, but be responsible citizens. be responsible. So.
Want to mention tomorrow call?
Yeah, just again is, and we've been leaning, if we've made it official, is that, some of the families that are that aren't retired, that can't be here at 9 o'clock on a Friday or a work day, Paul and I have committed to do every other Friday at 9 o'clock, and the same Saturday as that, we do it at 10 o'clock. So that people who have either children, where you have things like that, somebody can be here, or if it's a non-normal work week day, so that if people want to come in and hear this exact same thing, we're going to do it every Saturday at 10 o'clock.
I think that's wonderful.
Every other Saturday.
Every other Saturday.
So the Friday and Saturday of every other week is going to be there. So it'll be 2 days in a row, so we can blanket anybody's.
What kind of attendance have you had already?
More than this.
Yeah,
I counted 9. Saturday.
Yeah.
Counted
a lot of
9.
new faces.
And almost all new faces.
Sorry.
Yep. So, and they're generally younger.
Yeah.
They're generally younger.
There's a lot of little kids in the neighborhood.
There are. I mean, I'll say this, guys, if you haven't noticed it, and I don't know if we're on like 30-year cycles, but we've got, in the past 4 years, I think we've started another influx where the younger families are coming in. And I remember the same thing happened when we came in, my family, back in 1995. At the time, the mean age of the residents in Nassau Bay in 1995 was the highest of any neighborhood, any city in all of Clear Lake. But we had the fastest decreasing mean age. The same thing's going on right now. And I actually think it's even bigger than in 1995. Personal opinion, observing, don't have any facts, but you can tell just this by the number of kids, not a cats, all the above. You can just tell.
Hey, Phil, where do we stand on movies, Panda Express and Chipotle
Yeah.
is that moving forward with their?
So right now, that's something on the agenda for Monday. But one of the things that we picked up was, and I give credit to Dick Gregg, the language was inappropriate on how it went through. So it was written as saying, we are going to give a specific use permit for the development of Chipotle and Panda Express. And really, we can't decide what type of restaurant comes in here. Our authority is whether we can do a drive-through or not. So we've actually talked to their legal. They aren't coming here Monday because we got to kick it back and have that language reapproved by planning and come back. So we've lost about a month to be able to decide that. And I know I'd certainly like to know people's opinions, because I've heard two things is, put it in and who cares about the drive-through because that's revenue, and the other side is how many drive-throughs do we need in this city, and is a drive-through where you put food in the sack and drive away really what we want here in Nassau Valley? So any comments? I don't care which side you're on that. I would really appreciate help in understanding that, because I've heard from some, and would really because that's my understanding is the developer wants to put in a Chipotle and a Panda Express, both with drive-throughs. They're going to tear down that building and they're going to put it down. They originally came in and we're going to take down 27 trees, and I was really against that, because even back in 2000, John Kennedy and I put together the whole thing to put the palm trees and the oak trees on the whole thing. And if we get one precedent where we allow somebody to do that, then every other place could do the same, and it could change because they don't particularly like having those trees block the visibility of their establishment. I get it. I get it. I like the fact that it really gives them to know you're in Nassau Bay, because you've got uniform oak trees that look really nice, and you got uniform, landscaping in the center. It gives us a look, and there's no question people know the Nassau Bay look, and we're trying to reestablish that. So that's what's going on with that. Good question. I should have mentioned that.
Does Marriott have anything to do with that?
No.
Doesn't Marriott own some of that parking lot or something over there?
So,
No, my understanding, that's really CVS.
And Microtel.
And Microtel. Yeah, correct. Correct.
They don't.
I can tell you personally, the other day I had the Council General of Poland out here for an event. And he had come out here and the first time out here, and he just couldn't get over how beautiful it was.
Yes.
Didn't realize how beautiful this part to Houston was.
Back,
He was very, very impressed. He just couldn't get
yeah,
over.
back in 2000, and that's why, you're going to see movement on the monument here very shortly too, is we went to project that Nassau Bay back in the 60s and things like that. We were the center of Clear Lake, and we want to do everything we can to upgrade our city. That's why all those were put out there in the beginning place. You'll notice the end caps, all those things that died. Paul and I are working, we're going to, with the garden club as well as with the landscaping committee, that we're going to replace those so that you have the flowers out there. And we also want to paint all those curves because that is our shingle to the world. I mean, that Nassau Road 1 frontage is our shingle that people come in and see. And we want to put it back the way it was. And you know what I mean. You see it more than probably most because you're right there at the entryway. And we want those to look nice. Kreider just has his new job. So.
and on the monument, we had the electrical pulled, so there's no electrical going to the sign, and then we're going to remove the physical electrical supply, and then also the boxes are removed now. So we're doing our part.
Great.
We're doing our part to try. So now we're just waiting on the contractor.
Hey, Phil, before we break, can you tell us about your otter? I mean, this is pretty incredible.
So I couldn't believe.
You already said that.
Yeah, well, that was before the camera though. So just what Pete was saying is I had the luck of looking out our back window, and we believe it's a female, river otter. We did some research. It is a river otter, which according to, anything that you look at there, that Texas has a growing population. Now they're coming back into Texas. And I think we have one, somebody had mentioned that last year they saw 2. So I believe there's at least 2 otters here. And she was just having a fun time sunning. She was doing somersaults and things. I put pictures on every one of the Facebook social media for people to see. But, she's not a small otter. She's a good size and, just a hoot. Just a hoot.
Gotta be plenty of food for.
Well, that's what they said in a small, contained lake. You got to be careful with otters because they'll eat it out. But we've got navigable waters. We've got tidal waters. I have a green light. There's no otters that's going to clean out the Bay of Nassau Bay. There's no
They don't
way.
like salt water.
Yeah,
like salt
They
water.
don't like salt water. That's why they're river otters. Yep.
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah. So
Have we ever
yeah,
seen?
it's there. Did you see the pictures?
No,
Oh, you gotta see that.
Yeah, I put it on the party code. I put it on political discussion. Put it on Nassau Bay, Texas. I don't know. I think I sent it to the city. So there's 3 pictures of this otter. One's a great picture.
Have we ever seen, and Jim Stowe would know, I've been in boats and I've been down in Kima and have seen dolphin, right in front of the restaurants there. Have we ever seen?
I have not.
Never.
I've never seen one all the way into the Bay of Nassau Bay.
Actually, if you look, sometimes you'll see them coming from Mud Lake by the open and moving away.
Yeah, I've seen them in Clear Lake.
Well, yes, but they gotta move that, but they move
Yeah.
in towards Nassau Bay.
But I've never seen one personally. I'm not saying this. I've heard some people say they've seen them at the the
Hilton.
the Hilton or the towers that are there. But I've never seen them in there personally.
I
I've not.
wondered about that, yeah. Boy, it was amazing how the north wind blew the water out.
No
how
question.
low it was
No question.
this time of year.
That's why contractors for the bulkhead, they cannot get in for my Upper Bay bulkhead repair.
Right.
Cannot get
Yeah,
in.
it's too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too shallow.
Until summertime.
But we
Or
did
until
see
the-
our, but we
until the
did see
water
all
comes up.
our red valves. We did take pictures, so.
They gotta be bad. They gotta be bad. But you're also, and that's a good one here is as part of the things on council and with Paul is when when that bulkhead was breached up on Upper Bay Road, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm really scared of what we're gonna find because we've never looked at our bulkheads for 30 years. And this is a breach, and I'm sure that means tiebacks, everything like that,
Yeah.
just rusted and it came out, is just going to be an indication of what we're going to find a lot of different places.
And I wanted to say thank you to both of you for sending out swift alerts on the water, going to well water.
Yep.
Because it was important.
Yeah.
And, for my family, my wife was taking a shower and it, wasn't enjoyable. And the water had bad taste and smell. And we didn't know what was going on, but then you
Yeah,
sent out.
yeah.
My mother-in-law looked at me and said, "What's the matter with the water?"
So what happens, the well, we use the well water, how does that work?
No, we're on surface water. We're on we use it probably right now. We're around 900,000 gallons, 800,000. So we get surface water coming in, and it comes down from City of Houston, down Highway 3,
The
back
Southeast
to Clear Lake,
water purification
and then
plant.
that water comes in and then redistributed out to the system. So when the surface line, and that's they call it a Gifford Hill line. That's a Hanson pipe, and it's a high pressure pipe. So it's still wrapped with 3/8 roll steel, covered with cement that can hold up to about 150 pounds of pressure. So when that breaks, they got to chip all that up, weld butt straps on it. It's a big process, and so we had to shut down our supply coming in for the surface water. So what we did was we supplemented well water, but then we also have a interconnect by the Hilton. So we were taking Clear Lake's water through a meter, that's surface water. And so after a couple of days, we're actually blending in surface to well. So
Who owns that meter? Is that ours?
Yeah.
So we have two meters that come in. I was aware of the
Yes.
one. I didn't know the
Yeah.
second.
So that's a small 6-inch backup meter. That's a
It's
6-inch
just a
line.
6-inch.
But we were able to do about 350,000 gallons of well water and about 300,000 gallons of surface water. So after the first couple of days, that's probably, I think we got like maybe 3 complaints. After that, we didn't get anything.
True story here, just for people, is there was major subsidence that took place, not just Nassau Bay, just everywhere, because everybody up until 1980 or something like 1985 pulled all their water from wells, and it was dropping everything. And now it is illegal to use well water unless it's an extenuating an emergency situation, or if we have to test our wells in order to do that. And 100% of your drinking water is from riverine surface water. And for those that hear, when I moved in, when we lived in Back Bay Court, we had a grandfathered, elevation certificate, and it had us right at 12 feet. Well, I had it done where we had 4 feet of subsidence here in Nassau Bay because it was 8 feet, right at 8 feet. Exactly, it was 7 feet 11 inches. So all our city, and that's one of the reasons why we have some vulnerability to flooding, because our city over the 30 years or so has sunk at least 4 feet.
That's true all along the Gulf Coast.
All along the Gulf
Yeah.
Coast.
It's not
Houston,
Nassau Bay,
there's
not
even-
anybody.
Yeah, there's even in some parts of central downtown Houston, which was even worse, where it's just gone. So when you think about like with Harvey, and we had 52 inches of rain where it was like this, and better than anybody, Ralph, is it's like this.
Yeah, if
You're the expert.
Yeah.
In San Bertrand Power Station.
Really, 12 feet
Wow.
subsidence.
Wow.
it was 60 inches.
Wow.
You could probably go out to the Leeward Volunteer Fire Department area. We just did the boathouse, and you could see the old sidewalks that was from Leeward Harbor Drive. It's probably 3 or 4 feet down.
Yeah.
But now you can see the sidewalk actually underwater.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very
evident
interesting.
in the NASA Bay article, very evident.
Really?
Yeah.
Right down, yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it's very evident we've got 89 homes that have been lifted because of it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What else? We've been talking. What other questions? Anything? Everything's game.
You know, Phil, there are 2 restaurants that are proposed or being considered. And are they gonna be primarily tying in with the drive-in, or primarily
So I asked this question. I said, what would happen if it got rejected? And they said their business model is specifically around the drive-thru. So it's going to be food in a bag or food and going out. So
I was listening to it on the way in, on the speed limits and all that. Myself and a couple other. Is there any way we can put a sign at the entrance to say this is no width, it's pedestrian, something, no sidewalks in the city. So all the newcomers and
That's a new one.
servicing and visiting the hospital, they look at you walking like, why aren't you not off the street?
yeah, I think that look into. I mean, that would be. This is a sidewalk community, is basically what you're
Yeah.
saying, or non-sidewalk.
No, non-sidewalk. Yeah.
Non-sidewalk community. Sidewalk community.
Walker friendly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with people cutting through, right?
I mean, to me, and this is something Paul and I've talked about, and it's we've got some other things we're trying to fix first, but I really like painting of the streets, which actually set aside with a line pedestrian walkways. I mean, we did that at Space Park, and I thought it worked really well. And it just means you got to keep up with it. You know, we're definitely behind in a lot of our painting, which I know you're addressing.
Mhm.
So.
This is a really bad question.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I know. You know, there's cars parked all along the streets. And you look at their driveways and there's nothing in their driveways. It makes me crazy, especially when I'm out there and I'm trying to get around the buses and, you know, the construction and the yard crews.
So you asking to have a review of our parking policy for the city of Nassau Bay,
Well,
Barbara? You always like to have these easy things.
Park the car in the driveway. I mean, you know, like,
That'd probably be more HOA.
there's 2
No,
cars
it's
that
us.
park right
We
across
control
the road.
parking. We control parking.
You know, right across from our driveway, there's 2 cars that park on the street. There's nobody in the driveway. People.
I don't get it. I don't get it either, Barbara, but
It makes me
but
crazy.
I do know whenever, this is not the first time this question's been
Yeah,
asked,
oh, I know.
right? And there are diehard people that you know, have a lot of times it's with recreational vehicles or different things like that, visiting people, you know, but you're right. A lot of people do not park in their parking or their driveways. And, it's one of those emotional issues.
I know.
But I mean, you know, to me, because we don't have sidewalks, it raises the importance of having that for pedestrian. You know, really does, particularly for kids.
It just,
I got to do one plug here real quick before we're ending. The Johnson family is now a golf cart family. We have Matt Russell has done a great job and put us in a beautiful, not a new one, a refurbished golf. So we have joined the golf cart community. Thank you, Matt Russell.
welcome.
So with that, so now you got a new golf cart, but you don't have to register that with the city, right? Because we don't
No.
require that now?
I think we do.
You do?
We
We
do.
did.
I think you have to have it road registered. And you have to have, if you drive it at night, you must have lights.
You have to have a license plate on it.
Yeah.
To get that up.
Yeah.
And only people who can drive it have to actually have a driver's license, right? Is that right too?
Right,
Yeah, I think that's
Yep.
right.
that is right.
So,
Not a learner's permit, but a driver.
so I have been now asked if we're going to have a Nassau Bay Grand Prix for golf cart races.
You'd have a Virgin maze that says mayor and flies on the back.
Maybe so, you know.
But you might not want people to know that don't know.
Yeah, but we have joined the golf cart community. I think it had something to do with grandchildren.
Big time.
Anything else? Anything else?
I just say, when Chris was here, we had an event where we did like a poker run. You and Chris helped put that together back in the day.
A what?
Poker run,
A,
go from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant.
yeah,
We did that as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Chris organized that many years ago.
so.
And he invited a company.
So there's
all the golf-
what I have found out with golf carts is there's a lot of trash talking of who's got the fastest golf cart in Nassau Bay.
You have the shiny wheels on your, you have the shiny wheels?
I do. It's like I'll tell you, Matt does it, and they actually get older ones and they completely refurbish them and they look brand spanking new. And that I cannot believe how good of a job that they did and the reason price. So he did a good job. He, knobby wheels, chrome, metallic paint,
You're gonna have lights around.
but I have seat belts in every seat
Right.
because we have now 2 grandchildren and a mother-in-law. We are going to be
So I think that was required on the golf carts.
not in the front seat, but if you have in the back seat, I understand. I think they are, and you must with a child. You have to have a car seat, not just seat belts. You have to have a car seat. That requirement is not waived by the state.
You have to have a car seat on your golf cart?
If you have children who are riding in it that in a car are required to have it. They say for any vehicle, and they don't do an exception for that. So yeah, that's what I read that because that's one of the things we were wondering about, and I had Matt put in the seat belts because we have a 1-year-old and we have a what is it? Today's the 9th. Technically an 8-day-old who just happened to have an extra 3 months in an incubator.
So let me make sure I understand. So we have an 8-year-old grandson, and he has to have a car seat? on
No,
the golf
because
cart?
I don't believe an 8-year-old is required to be in a car seat in an automobile.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, are
You
they?
have to have a certain
I thought it
height
was-
and a certain weight.
That may be. Correct me. You may want to check into it yourself. My understanding of what I read is yes, any child who is required to have a car seat in a vehicle is supposed to have a car seat in their golf cart.
And I think an
So-
automobile, they have to be in the back seat, not the front seat.
Up to a certain weight, correct.
Yeah, certain height.
Correct.
certain-
Because that's an airbag thing. That's an airbag thing.
Oh,
You can kill a child if smaller one with the airbag if you're not careful. So, okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Right.